Ask yourself, if you had a choice to run that through your intake system or not, I don't know too many people that would say, yeah, I don't mind that running through my intake system. G'day Jaffa Adventures, Terry King here, welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to talk about catch cans, and in particular, I'm going to service my catch can. Now of course after every service you drain your catch can, but that's not actually servicing. You want to see what I'm talking about when I say I'm going to service my catch can? Stick around. Now I thought I'd take the opportunity to service this catch can while I've got the intercooler pulled off the car. The reason I've got the intercooler off the car is that I'm cleaning it out. The video for that exists in the library, and what I was trying to do there was to determine whether I could get an efficiency increase out of the intercooler after cleaning it versus before cleaning it. Now I've got a Provent 200 catch can, which is located here on the passenger side firewall. I have often seen them mounted over on this side by the brake master cylinder, but for me that didn't work because that's where I've got my fuses located for all of my auxiliaries. It's probably worthwhile just taking a couple of minutes and explaining exactly what a catch can does. And to understand that, you need to understand this, the PCV system, or the positive crankcase ventilation system. So during the combustion process, you get the big explosion in the combustion chamber, it pushes the piston down, and a small amount of those combustion gases get past the piston ring and into the crankcase. Now if you didn't vent those gases, they'd build up inside of that crankcase and it would blow oil seals out. Not something that you want. Back in the bad old days, you simply vented the rocker cover straight down the chassis rail. In the new modern days now, you've got PCV systems which take those crankcase gases, and in this case of the Toyota, it takes that and it routes that into this pipe here, which goes down into your inlet manifold. That inlet manifold goes down to the turbo compresses the air comes up here and into your intercooler. So all of those gases that have oily vapors in them go through this system and straight into your intercooler. And that leads me on to the subject of a catch can. So what does a catch can actually do? In this particular instance, we've got our positive crankcase ventilation valve here. Gases, we got crankcase gases which are laden in oil. They run through this line over to our catch can. There's filter medium inside of that catch can that separates the oil from the pressurized gases, then sends it back down a return line, and that goes back into the inlet pipe where the original factory PCV vented into. So in simple terms, basically you're taking that oil-laden vapors, you're rerouting them through a filter, that filter drops all the vapors out of it, then you're venting those oil-free gases back into your inlet system, exactly where Toyota had them originally. So I've had a catch can fitted to this vehicle since it was 70,000 kilometers old. It's now got 200,000 on the clock. So this catch can has been on the vehicle for 130,000 kilometers. I service it every 5,000 kilometers. And this is what I pull out of the catch can on a typical 5,000 kilometer interval. That means I've serviced it 26 times since I installed that catch can. I pull about 60 milliliters out of that catch can on each service. So let's do the math together, shall we? 26 services by 60 milliliters, 1560. So what that means is I've captured 1.5 liters of that toxic goo over the last 130,000 kilometers. If I did not have a catch can fitted, that 1.5 liters would have gone straight through my intercooler and straight through my intake system. Now, if you've got that 1.5 liters of black goo going into your motor, and you've got an EGR system, which these Toyota cars do, it combines a little bit of sooty exhaust with that 1.5 liters of goo, and you can imagine what black soot and oil would turn into. It's this viscous mass of crap. Now, I've got a blank-off plate fitted to this car, so the EGR system is basically inoperable or inactive in it. But if you don't have that, your intake system after the EGR valve is going to be clogged up with that black goo. And there's plenty of videos on YouTube showing that. Now, before I go ahead and open that catch can up, this is what a service kit for your catch can looks like. Now, this is a Provent catch can, and the manufacturer's Mann and Hummel, and this is the part number LC5001-2X. And what you get in the kit is you get a filter, you get a new O-ring, and I believe there's two versions of the Provent 200, an earlier version and a later version. And when we open it up, I'll determine which one I've got, but I believe this cap allows you to retrofit the filter from an early version to a later version. Now these kits aren't cheap. I think I paid around 80 bucks for this. So Mr. Man and Hum will give you some instructions on how to do this. It certainly doesn't look hard from the instructions. Take the lid off, take the old filter out, throw it in a bin, put the new filter in, take the old O-ring off the lid, put a new O-ring on, screw the cap on until it clicks. Hey, that seems pretty bloody easy. So my catch can drain is behind this panel in the passenger side inner guard area on a right-hand drive car. And that's it there. So that rubber line runs up to my catch can, and I simply have a bolt with an O-ring on here, and I simply undo that bolt to drain the catch can. If I ever get around to it, I'll put a tap on this thing. That'll save one additional step, but this works. Got myself a little drain container. Take the bolt out, and out comes my toxic black goo. So all of that stuff would have gone through the intake side of the engine if it wasn't for a catch can catching it. Now I've heard lots of guys say, hey, catch cans blow seals in the motor. I've heard Toyota declining warranties on their cars because a catch can's fitted. Blah, 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 all this shit. I'm a firm believer, if a catch can is fitted up to the car and it's fitted up to the car properly, they do nothing but good and increase the longevity of the engine. If you're not convinced of that, that's perfectly fine. That's your opinion, but it ain't mine. Tuck that in behind there for another day. And this is the sort of stuff that catch can pulls out. All right, I will just pull this bracket off the catch can so I can get it out of there to get that lid off, because it interferes with a little bit of this wiring harness on my application. Okay, take the lid off, a little bit of crustiness. Pull our filter out. Now that filter looks completely different to the one that I've got, so we'll have to investigate that. And that's it. I've already drained the catch can itself. All right, I got two filters of completely different media. That's the new one, and it's some sort of a synthetic type filter media. The old one is got a stainless steel mesh with some synthetic material in behind it. Anyway, they are identical in terms of the shape, so that's cool. I won't need that lid bit because my lid fits perfectly on the new one, so we're all good there. So where I'll start is I'll start with this lid itself, and we'll just clean it up. This is just a bit of brake cleaner. Take this old O-ring out. Okay, we'll put a little bit of oil on this O-ring and then slip him in place. Done. All right, lid serviced. That filter there, I'll throw in the bin. I'll replace it with that filter. Now, how often do you need to replace these things? There is no dedicated service interval, but I jumped onto the Man and Hummel website and they suggested every 20,000 kilometers. Now I've had this sucker in my car for 130,000 kilometers now. So that's probably well and truly past its use by date. I will, from this point forward, service this thing every 20,000 kilometers, so I'll record that in my service in my logbook. Pop that in our box. Close him up and dispose of him in an environmentally responsible manner. Yoink! Okay, we'll pop that inside there. Screw our lid back on, and that's it. Okay, we'll bolt that bracket back in place and we'll call it done. Now, one thing I will say about that 20,000 K service interval and the fact that I haven't serviced it for 130, and that is that I pull about anywhere between 40 and 60 milliliters every 5,000 kilometers. And that has not changed for the life of that 130,000 kilometers. So that leads me to believe that that catch can was still doing what it was meant to be doing. I would think that if you start to get different volumes over time, that would indicate something might be amiss and that you need to service them. All right, brackets all done up. We're finished the catch can service. Now I'd just like to show you a little bit about that oil that these catch cans catch. There's some brand new engine oil. Lovely. Here's some engine oil that's come out of my truck after a 5,000 kilometer service. Here's the oil that's come out of that catch can. Now I hope you can clearly see the difference there. Brand new engine oil, of course, is clean, beautiful viscosity. The 5000K engine oil on your 200 series Landcruiser, I definitely recommend doing 5,000 kilometer interval changes. Looks beautiful. And that's the stuff that comes out of the catch can. Look at how black and toxic that is. And that's engine oil combined with combustion gases that have got past that engine ring that catch can has captured. Without that catch can, between 40 and 60 milliliters every 5,000 kilometers goes through your intake system. I've had that catch can now installed for 130,000 kilometers, which means I've prevented about 1.5 liters of this toxic goo getting into my intake system. Why wouldn't you fit a catch can? I have heard that some Toyota dealers will void a warranty if they find a catch can fitted. Now, the reason that they're voiding the warranty isn't because the catch can has done anything bad if it's fitted correctly. The reason they're voiding the warranty is it's an out for them, isn't it? You've made alterations to this vehicle that are non-standard. Therefore, we're going to blame that non-standard alteration and we don't have to honor your warranty. It's as simple as that. Whether you fit a catch can or not, that is entirely up to you. But make no mistake, there are absolute positive benefits with a properly installed and properly maintained catch can. Well, that's me weighed into the catch can debate. And you know what? You might argue, for me it's an easy choice because my car's out of warranty. Well, when I did fit that catch can, it was still within warranty. So the benefits outweighed the risks in my eyes. That may be different from you, and you know what? That's perfectly fine. Until the next time I see you guys, keep the shiny side up. Bye now.